Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Got some random cardboard for the upcoming video. This post-it has been sitting on my table for the longest time. There's a lot of echo in here. Hello, hello, hello. Sorry, audio kind of sucks. So it's about finding your true self. Whether or not there is a true self, of course that's up for debate, but I think that's a common topic that I've come across. So I figured it's worth talking about. And what this post-it is about is one technique you can use to find your true self. I call it the Zigzag Approach. Basically how it works is there's this middle line, and we can call it our true self. It's not a solid line because it's sort of hidden, and that's why we have to go on our soul search in order to find it. And usually what happens is, it's sort of like in the movies like Harry Potter or Frodo from Lord of the Rings or Luke Skywalker in Star Wars. Someone goes on a crazy wild adventure, and on that adventure they hit the highest highs and the lowest lows, but on the other end they come out having evolved and learned much more about themselves had they never embarked on this adventure. So you'll start here, go on a little adventure, and then you're basically kind of going from one end to the other. So you'll kind of go past it, and then maybe you'll come back, and then you'll feel like, oh, this doesn't feel quite right, let me come back again. And then you might find, okay, this feels kind of okay. But then again, you're not sure. I mean, it's really hard to ever know if you've truly found your true self, especially because biologically speaking or culturally speaking, or depending on what's happening during our lifetime, our values, my camera, our values change, and our desires change, and our true self and our goals change. So for example, when I was a kid, my true self would be go to the closest corner store and get as many M&Ms as possible because I just want candy all the time. As I got older, where's the closest boba shop so I can drink some boba and go home and play video games? And then as I've gone even older, now my true self is making these YouTube videos and sharing everything that I've learned in my zigzag journey. So it keeps changing, and I think one way to think about the zigzag approach is this idea that I call finding yourself to lose yourself in order to find yourself again. And then you just kind of keep going back and forth between the two until you kind of find something that you're more or less happy with. Going back to the zigzag, we're just gonna keep going. And then ideally what would happen is you will start to find your true alignment. And just speaking from personal experience, I don't think we can ever truly find it just because things are always changing, but I think we can get very close to it. So instead of our zigzag looking super chaotic, it'll look a little bit more uniform. And perhaps sometimes it will kind of go off, but because we have enough life experience, we know how to bring it back to where it needs to be. Sort of like a car, it runs smoothly most of the times, but every once in a while you're gonna have to bring it into the mechanic and get it fixed. That's basically the zigzag approach. It's a drawing that I've found pretty helpful. I think it's a little bit more accurate in terms of finding ourselves. But one last idea that I had was, what if this entire process is the self? If it is true, there is no destination, which I think is actually quite cool. It takes away the idea that there's a destination that we must find. Instead, it's just more like the never-ending process, like the car that we drive. Eventually, we know that we're gonna have to go change the oil and switch out the tires and get the brakes realigned. But that's fine if we are to expect it and to embrace the entire zigzag as part of what it means to be who you are, instead of holding ourselves to this golden standard of I must be perfect all the time, and if I'm not, then oh my god, something oh my god, something's wrong with me. And it also makes it a little bit better for those who are on the journey, and we all are on the journey, like Harry Potter and Frodo and Luke Skywalker. It makes it okay that we fall off into the deep end and face large problems that we never thought possible, just to test ourselves and see how strong we really are, in order to bounce back and kind of see that line that we keep crossing in order to finally fine-tune it. And okay, this is the sweet spot. I'm gonna try and maintain it, but at the same time, it's okay if I veer off every once in a while because I have enough life experience to dial it back. So yeah, that's it. That's the zigzag approach. Whether or not you're going like that or you're like super dialed in and you're like this. It's the whole process. It's all you. That is the self. And maybe it's not a destination. Instead, it's more just of an overall process that we can learn to embrace.